May his nose be rubbed in dust. May he be destroyed. The one that enters the month of Ramadan and he catches Ramadan and he's alive, but his sins are not forgiven. So a person that eats and drinks by accident, they are fasting and they are doing everything right, and then subhanallah, they just forget. They just get water, bismillah. Fasting, subhanallah, what did I do? Did I break my fast? Did I not break my fast? Many people, they do the action first and then they have doubt, then they start to ask, did I do right? What do I have to do to fix this? No, we seek knowledge first, we learn first, and then inshallah ta'ala we won't make no mistakes.
قل لي في الإسلام قولا لا أسأل عنه أحدا غيرك قال قل آمنت بالله ثم استقم.
الحمد لله رب العالمين والعاقبة للمتقين ولا عدوان إلا على الظالمين. اللهم إنا نسألك علما نافعا ورزقا طيبا وعملا متقبلا. So inshallah ta'ala in the first session today, we're going to be taking Kitab al-Siyam, the chapter of fasting, some of the rulings of fasting and that which is connected to it before we enter the month of Ramadan. And so before we act and we perform the action of fasting and staying away from food and drink and desires, we have to have knowledge first. Al-ilmu qabla al-qawli wal-amal. Knowledge comes before speech and action. And so many people, like we mentioned yesterday, many people, they do the action first and then they have doubt, then they start to ask, did I do right? What do I have to do to fix this? No, we seek knowledge first, we learn first, and then inshallah ta'ala we won't make no mistakes. Okay? So this book that we're going to be doing is called Manhaj as-Salikin. Manhaj as-Salikin is the name of the book. It's written by a great scholar of the last generation who's called Sheikh Abdurrahman ibn Nasir as-Sa'di. He has many books. He has tafsir book, he has hadith book, he has fiqh books. From the books that he has is this book, Manhaj as-Salikin, that is talking about fiqh. And it's a basic book that you can start with. It talks about tahara, purification, how to make wudu. Wudu you have to make with water. What water are you allowed to use? What vessels are you allowed to use? How to make wudu, how to clean yourself from najasa, salah, and then zakah, som, hajj, and the rest of the ibadat that we worship Allah Azza wa Jal with. How do we perform these things? So these are referred to as fiqh books. This is one of those books. It's called Manhaj as-Salikin. So we'll go with the chapter or the book as we go along, inshallah ta'ala. He says, Kitab al-Siyam. الأصل فيه قوله تعالى يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم الآيات. He says, chapter of fasting, the origin of fasting is the statement of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, O you who believe, fasting has been made obligatory upon you, has been prescribed upon you, just as it has been prescribed and made obligatory on those that came before you. For what reason? لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ, so that you may attain taqwa, piety in loose translation. And so fasting is not something that is new to this ummah. We are not the first nation to fast. Allah mentions that previous prophets and previous nations, they also fasted. Was it the same fast that they would stay away from food from Fajr till Maghrib, and they had to stay away from this? Allahu A'lam, we do not know. Fasting was obligatory, just like praying was obligatory, but the kayfiyah, the how, might be different. So what is obligatory upon us is the way that the Prophet ﷺ, he taught us. So fasting is obligatory. The next mas'ala that he goes through is, and we'll go through masail, issues. Who is it obligatory upon? طيب, we accept. Allah mentions in Surah Al-Baqarah, fasting has been prescribed upon us, made obligatory. Who has to fast? The old only or the young only? Does the children have to fast? Is it men only or is it women only? Who has to fast? So he mentions the people that it's obligatory to fast in the month of Ramadan. The month of Ramadan is the 9th. And take notes, I'm going to ask you questions, inshallah ta'ala. I don't like to just talk. I don't know if you're with me or not with me. So take notes, inshallah ta'ala. You might be put on the spot. The month of Ramadan is in the 9th month of the lunar year. So we have the calendar either can be by the sun or the moon. Islamically, we follow the moon. And it has 12 months, Allah Azza wa Jal mentions. And each month has a name. The 9th month is called the month of Ramadan. It was referred to as Ramadan before Islam and after Islam. And so he says, وَيَجِبُ صِيَامُ رمضان على كل مسلم بالغ عاقل قادر على الصوم. He says that fasting the month of Ramadan has been made obligatory upon, number one, the Muslim. That takes out the non-Muslim. It's obligatory upon every Muslim. And so it's not obligatory upon the kafir to fast. So if a kafir fasts, is his fast accepted? Does he get reward for it? No. Another important point to mention here as a side benefit is, if we are giving da'wah to a non-Muslim, and as Muslims we love good for all people. نحب الخير للغير. We want the non-Muslim to be a Muslim. We want the misguided to be guided. We want the one that is sinful to be obedient. And so if you have a non-Muslim colleague or friend or the likes, in school or work, and we love for them khair, then we share this khair with them, right? But what part of Islam should you share first? Is it fasting? Like we have many examples that we see online. Fast one day, experiment, try to fast one day, see the feeling of Islam fasting one day. Like, this is not the most important thing, because even if they fast and they say, mashallah, I feel light, I feel mashallah, did he become Muslim? No. If he says, I will fast for the rest of Ramadan, every Ramadan I will fast for the rest of my life, did he become Muslim? No. So at Tarkiz, the focus should be on Tawheed first, on kalimat La ilaha illallah. What does it mean? Who is a creator? What are the signs that Allah Azza wa Jal exists? The creation of the heavens and the earth and the moons and the sun and the stars and the sky and the mountains, all of these great things, especially mashallah in this country that you have a lot of beautiful landscape that Allah Azza wa Jal created. Did it come by itself? أَمْ خُلِقُوا مِنْ غَيْرِ شَيْءٍ أَمْ هُمُ الْخَالِقُونَ? Were they created from nothing, or did they create them themselves? So focusing on Tawheed, on the existence of Allah, on worshipping one Lord, and there is one Creator. That for everything that is made, there must be a Maker. Focusing on this first, because this is the thing that will enter a person into Islam. And then a person can, inshallah, pick up fasting and the other things afterwards. So number one, the Ramadan is obligatory upon every Muslim. Number two, it is obligatory upon every Muslim that is baligh, that is of age, that has reached the age of maturity, the age of puberty. And so this person has to reach a certain age. If they are a child, 7 years old, is it obligatory upon them to fast? No. 5-year-old? No. It's not obligatory. Let's say the child says, I want to fast, I want to practice, and they fast. Do they get reward? They get reward, inshallah. But if they don't fast, it's not obligatory upon them. But if they do it, and as an encouragement, they get reward. When does a person reach this age of baligh? There are a number of signs. Either, number one of the signs of them reaching the age of puberty occurs. Like that a child gets to an age where they have a wet dream, or pubic hair starts to grow. So the signs of puberty occurs upon them. That means they have reached adulthood. And from that age, they have to fast, they have to pray, and the likes of these affairs. If none of those signs occur, and they don't have a wet dream and the likes of these affairs, then if they reach 15 years old, then they have become baligh. They have become adults. They have to fast after 15 if they never reached any of those signs before. And so it's one of two things. Either they reach the age of puberty before 15, 11 years old, 13 years old, 14 years old. But if none of those signs came up until 15 and it still hasn't come, if they reach 15 years old, then khalas. Reaching 15 means they have reached the age of bulugh. Is that clear? But it's important to mention these fara'id, the obligatory affairs that are major parts of Islam, like praying, fasting, wearing hijab and the likes of these affairs, it's recommended to start with the child at a young age so they get used to it. And so the Prophet ﷺ, he said, tell your children to pray at the age of 7 years old. Look, if they don't pray at 7, do they get sin? No, it's not obligatory upon them. They haven't reached the age of bulugh. But we have to train them. So the Prophet ﷺ said, teach them to pray at the age of 7. Tell them to pray at the age of 7. And at the age of 10, discipline them if they don't pray. You take it more serious. From 7 to 9 is okay, like if they pray sometimes, they don't pray sometimes, you're getting used to it. After 10, it becomes a bit more serious. It's still not sinful, but now there's discipline. Okay? Why? To get them used to it. Likewise, fasting and hijab and the likes of these affairs. Because when they reach the age of bulugh now, and they've already been used to it, it's going to be easy for them to start. Sah? But imagine one day, 15 years, they never prayed. They never prayed one salah. As a child, let them play, let them play, let them play. Okay, he gave 15. Khalas, he's adult. And he has to pray. Will he struggle or not struggle? He will struggle. So that training has to take place beforehand. So this is the second requirement for Ramadan to be, fasting the month of Ramadan becoming obligatory. Number 1, Muslim. Number 2, baligh. By the way, the age of 15, is it your date of birth in the Gregorian calendar? January, February, June, August? La. It's the Hijri date. And the Hijri dates, the Gregorian, they differ. The Hijri always goes faster than the Gregorian date by a couple of months at the early stages, up until it gets to 1 year, 2 years. The older you get, the bigger the gap. So a person needs to, the easy way to find out if you have children and the likes is, just go on Google and write Gregorian to Hijri converter. So if you write the date of the Gregorian, 10th of July, 2000, let's see. You convert that into Hijri, it will tell you which Hijri date it is. When they reach 15 from the Hijri date, then they are counted as amongst the adults from that age. And that is for all of the rulings. So that's the side benefit. All the Islamic rulings that mentions an age, a number, this has to be done by this age, 7 years old. Discipline by 10 years old. Age of puberty, if they don't have any of the signs, then it's 15 years old. All of these ages then is referring to the lunar, the Hijri calendar, the moon cycle, not the sun, not the Gregorian. Is that clear? Now, so if you go to your Hijri date, all of us are older than our real age. So if you're 29, then most likely you're already 30. If you're 19, you're probably already 20. Okay, so that's just to bear in mind for the ahkam that I mentioned, age. The third condition is aqil. That a person has to be Muslim, baligh, of age. And number 3, aqil. They have to have sanity. They have to be mentally okay, sane. And that takes out the one that is not sane. If someone is not mentally there, then the pen has been lifted from them. They don't have to fast. If they fast and it's extra and they're able to do it, then that's fine. But as for making it obligatory upon them to fast, then it's not fast. And this shows you the rahmah of Islam based upon your ability. And so the person that's sane, رُفِعَ الْقَلَمُ عَنْهُ, the pen has been lifted from the one that is not sane, from fasting, from praying, and all the obligations is not obligatory upon them. Number 4, قَادِرٌ عَلَى الصَّوْمِ, that they are able to fast. They have the ability to fast. This takes out the person that's not able, the one that is sick, the one that is old in age, 80 years old. They can't leave off food. They're too old. Is it obligatory for them to fast? No, they don't have to fast. The Shaykh al-Kabir al-Harim doesn't have to fast. Likewise, the one that is sick, a sickness, whether it's short term, he doesn't have to fast for those days, or it's a long-term illness where they have to take medication. Then it's not obligatory upon them to fast. He mentions these 4. There's one more condition that I'll mention in other books that I will mention as an extra. is that a person is muwatin, that a person is resident and not traveling. That they are resident in the land that they are living in. So this takes out the person that is traveling. The one that is traveling is not obligatory upon them to fast. If they fast and they're able to fast, then it's khair and it's allowed and it's sunnah. And they get reward for it. But if they do not fast, they have the choice. To fast or to not to fast. It's not obligatory upon the traveler to fast. So this is the fifth condition, that a person is muwatin muqim, that they are a resident and not a traveler. So you can mention those 5 conditions when it's obligatory.
You need to be Muslim, baligh, aqil, qadirun as-sawm, and mutta'id.
قادر على الصوم and muqim. Ahsant. Resident. Ahsant. Okay, the same questions for the sister side. I think there's a sister side, and the sister side there's a sister that has the books. So inshallah, the same question applies. What are the 5 conditions for sawm to be accepted for the sister side? And whoever puts their hand up and answers it to the sister, they get a book. Pass this back for the brother. You don't have the book already, sir?
No, I don't.
طيب. Then we go on to, so these are the 5 conditions. Any questions on that? Any questions on that point?
Is it allowed to give food to non-Muslims during Ramadan, or if it's not obligatory to fast?
This is another mas'ala which is important, and the ulama discuss it, and there's difference of opinion. Are you allowed to have a shop open that serves food? To Muslims, طبعا, it's not allowed. طيب, what about to non-Muslims? This differs because now we're not in a Muslim country. In a Muslim country, it's easy. They start late. They start taking orders for iftar, and they work the night time. So the Muslim country, everything is adjusted to Ramadan. But when you're living in a non-Muslim country, it's different. And I haven't really studied that master, so I don't want to give a fatwa that people misact upon. Jazakumullah khair.
What was the last figure for the person to fast?
Muqim. Begins with a meme, ends with a meme. Muqim. Muqim means someone that is resident, residing in a city. They are not traveling. Because if you're traveling, you have different ahkam. You might mention it after. Then we go on to the next mas'ala, which is, how does Ramadan start? How do we know Ramadan has begun? How do we know Ramadan has started? There are 2 ways. There are 2 ways the Prophet ﷺ mentioned to us that Ramadan starts. Either like this or like this. So what are those 2 things? The Prophet ﷺ, he says, or before that, the Shaykh, he says, بِرُؤْيَةِ هِلَالِهِ أَوْ إِكْمَالِ شَعْبَانِ 30 يَوْمًا. It starts either by seeing the crescent moon, by seeing the new moon, which is a thin line. If a person sees this, then it means Ramadan has started, the new month has entered. Or no one saw the new moon, so we complete the previous month full 30 days. Meaning, in the lunar calendar, you know how we have in the normal calendar that we know, January, February, March, April. Do the days change how much February is every year, or is it the same? Same or what the January? Okay, February is khalas, it's special. No problem. But January, March, April, June, July, August, they're always the same. Sah? I thought I was about to learn something new today. And so it doesn't change. So to this month coming, March is going to be 30 days or 31 days. What's March? How many days? 31 days. It's a long time. It doesn't change every year. March is going to be 31 for the next 50 years. Sah? But Islamically, the lunar calendar that we follow, the moon cycle, is different. Every month is different. It can be 29 or 30. It can be 29 or 30 every month. How do we know? We look for the moon. At the end of the month, they always look for the new moon. If they see it, then the month finish early, it's 29 days. The new month starts. If they don't see the new moon, then they continue that month up until one more day, it becomes 30, and 30 is the maximum, then the next month starts. Does that make sense? So now, when it comes to Ramadan, this is the lunar all year round. It comes to Ramadan, the month before Ramadan is Sha'ban. We are in Sha'ban right now. On the 29th, they start to search for the moon. They start looking for the new crescent moon, sighting it. If they see it, if any Muslim sees the crescent moon, then that means the month of Sha'ban is how many days? 29, and it's finished. And the new month is starting tomorrow, Ramadan. If they don't see the crescent moon, for whatever reason, whether it was cloudy that day, whether there was actually no cloud, it was very clear, but they didn't see it. What does it mean? Then we didn't see the new moon. That means we complete Sha'ban 30 days. So it's one of these two ways. Either you complete the month 30 days, or you've seen it early and it's 29 days and Ramadan starts like this. And so what's the evidence? The Prophet ﷺ, he says, قال صلى الله عليه وسلم إذا رأيتموه فصوموا وإذا رأيتموه فأفطروا فإن غم عليكم فاقتروا له متفق عليه وفي لفظ فاقتروا له 30 وفي لفظ فأكملوا عدة شعبان 30 رواه البخاري. He mentions a number of narrations, all of them with a similar meaning. Prophet ﷺ, he says, إِذَا رَأَيْتُمُوهُ, if you see it, then fast. If you see the new crescent moon, then fast. And if you see it at the end of the month, you see the new moon again at the end to find out if it's Eid or not on the 29th or the 30th. If you see it, then stop fasting and the next day is Eid. فَإِنْ غُمَّ عَلَيْكُمْ, if it becomes clouded or it becomes obscured, you can't see it because of an obstacle, then complete فَقْتُرُوا لَهُ, and in the other riwayat it mentions it in more detail, then complete it 30 days, and in one narration, complete the month of Sha'ban 30 days. طيب, what do we benefit here? We benefit that the Prophet ﷺ علق دخول الشهر بالرؤية. The Prophet ﷺ, he connected the entering of the month of Ramadan and the exiting of the month of Ramadan with ru'ya, with sight. The hadith mentions إِذَا رَأَيْتُمُوهُ specifically, which shows us that it is not allowed, and the ulama have mentioned من قديم الزمان, that it's not allowed to use al-hisab al-falaki. It's not allowed to use astronomical calculations. That they use the stars and the astronomy and the likes to make calculations. And they say this month is going to be 29th. And you know, Ramadan is going to finish on the 30th. And Hajj, they're already telling you now, Hajj is going to be this day. And Ramadan in 2 years' time is going to be 30. How do you know? They say we use astronomical calculations. Al-hisab al-falaki. Is it allowed to use this to start Ramadan or to end Ramadan? And then all of the ulama, they mention, no, it is not allowed. Why? Because the Prophet ﷺ, he mentions in all of the ahadith, إِذَا رَأَيْتُمُوهُ, if you see it. And it mentions in another hadith that this nation is ummi. It's a nation that is illiterate. Meaning the origin of the Arabs, they were people that could not read or write. And so Allah made the religion easy for them, for a person that cannot read or write. And those ahkam continue until the Day of Judgment. The entering of the month of Ramadan or exiting has been made connected to something that everyone can see. Do you need to be a scientist or someone that has a PhD or someone that has special X-ray eyes to see the moon? La. Everyone on the earth is able to see it with their own eyes. And the calculation has been made easy of the month of Ramadan. The Prophet ﷺ, he said, الشهر هكذا, and he put his hands up to make it easy, and he said, هكذا, هكذا, هكذا. 10, 10, 9. That's how many days? 29. Or, oh, and he mentions another straight after, or it is هكذا هكذا هكذا. 10, 10, 10 is 30. It's either 29 or 30. طيب, the person that doesn't have no GCSEs, he understands, okay, 1, 2, 3, this is 10, this is 10, this is one missing, is 29, the other one is full, is 30. It's made easy. It's not something that is a knowledge that is specific to a group of people. And they control when month of Ramadan enters and it exits, like the kuffar of Quraysh tried to do. They had some months that were sacred. So they would try to control when the sacred month enters and it doesn't enter. Why? In accordance to their interest. Because if the sacred month enters, they can't do war, they can't do battle, they can't do some other things. So if he wants to have a war, he would change it. He says, no, the month hasn't started yet, there's 2 days left. But Allah Azza wa Jal made this affair that's not specific to a group of people, that the whole earth, everyone can see the moon is right there. And so the Hisab al-Falaki and these other calculations is not from the Sunnah, and he goes against what the Prophet ﷺ, he guided us to, which is the site of ru'ya that is connected to ar-ru'ya. طيب. Another mas'ala comes in which is similar, connected to this. Does every country have their own sighting, or do we all have to follow one country? There's difference between the ulama, but that which is most correct, and it occurred in the time of the Sahaba, is that every land has its own sight, its own looking for the moon. We have a hadith that mentions that one of the Sahaba was in Sham, and I believe it's Ibn Umar, that he was in Sham, Greater Syria and the countries surrounding, and Muawiyah radiallahu anhu was the leader of it at that time, or the head of it, the governor. And so they looked for the moon, and they started on a Friday. And Ibn Umar traveled to Hijaz, to Medina, and they started a day after. Started on a Saturday. And so he asked, when did you guys start? He said, we started this day. He said, we started in Sham with Muawiyah on a Friday. Should we not connect it? Because they saw it. You guys never saw it, you delayed it one day. Then Ibn Umar, he mentions, no. This is what we were commanded by the Prophet ﷺ with. It's fine. If they saw it on that day, they are following the Sunnah. Why? Because they tried to look for it. And they saw it. And the people of Medina, they're following the Sunnah. Why? Because they used their ru'ya as well, but they did not see it. And they both correct. This is understood? This is fine. Both is correct. Then he says, وَيُصَامُ بِرُؤْيَةِ عَدْلٍ لِهِلَالِهِ, that we fast or we start the month based upon the sighting of one trustworthy person. If one trustworthy person sees the hilal, the new crescent moon, then we accept that witness if he's trustworthy, and the whole month of Ramadan starts. Why? The Prophet ﷺ, he started the month of Ramadan with the sighting of only Ibn Umar. And he accepted that witness from him, and he was trustworthy, and so he started the month. So this is allowed. And so every year we have people arguing online and Twitter, and we following Saudi Arabia, no, I'm following Morocco, no, I'm following Egypt, no, I'm following Somalia, no. Look, every country, if Switzerland, if we have an organization that's, let's say this masjid, they have a team and they say, we're going to go and look for the moon this year. They go up into the Alps or somewhere else that's high, that doesn't have lights. And they look from Asr all the way to, let's say, Isha or later, and they look for the moon. And mashallah, 2 brothers saw it. If the masjid says, look, we went out into the mountains and we saw the moon, we are going to fast, inshallah, as a community. All of us, we're going to fast starting this day. And the people of Switzerland say, khalas, we trust this masjid, we're all going to fast on this day. Is that allowed? Yes, it's allowed. This is following the Sunnah. طيب, I travel to the next country. I travel to Germany. What's the closest country? Okay, I go to Germany. Let's say Germany did the same thing. but they did not see the new moon. And they completed Sha'ban 30 days and they fasted the next day, 1 day later than Switzerland. Are they following the Sunnah? Yes, they're following the Sunnah because they did it with the ru'ya. They didn't follow calculations. If I travel from Switzerland and I'm fasting 1 day before and I go to Germany and I complete Ramadan in Germany and they pray Eid a day later, what do I do? Pray by myself? No, I started in Switzerland, I saw it. Germany, they're praying Eid tomorrow, I pray Eid today by myself. Allowed? Not allowed. This goes into another mas'ala of لا تخالف أهل البلد. Do not go against the people of the country that you're living. So if you started in a country and then you went to another country and you're finishing there and they're doing Eid the day after, do Eid with them. So this is another issue. Why? Because Islam looks at another maqsad objective of not having disunity. Wallahi, 10 people, they say, I don't care, we saw it in another country and we are here and we're doing our own Eid, 10 people only. And there's 10,000 Muslims doing Eid the next day. ليش تخالف الجماعة? Why are you going against the majority of the Muslims? This is going to bring disunity. So one country shouldn't have two different sightings as much as possible, but even with that, it still occurs. I don't know about Switzerland. In the UK, we have a lot. Today, tomorrow, maybe someone the day after. So it exists. وعلى كل حال, this is the fiqh of it, and inshallah that is clear. Any questions before we move on?
How do we look for even days when you have such a problem?
Say again?
How do we look when I started in Switzerland and then go to Germany? How do I count the days? One is uneven and one is even.
صح. You complete month of Ramadan, but لا تخالف أهل البلد. So if they are, for example, some of the ulama they mention, if they are fasting an extra day, fast with them. If they finish a day early and they're doing a day earlier from your counting, do Eid with them and make up that day after Ramadan. So this is what some of the ulama mention.
Is it allowed to use?
So the question was, I didn't mention the question. We should give a microphone, but it will take too much time. How do you count the days if you started in one country and it's different to the next country that you go to and it's going to be different numbering? What do you do?
Is it allowed to use high technical stuff like some countries do, or only seeing the eyes?
Like what? Microscope.
Yeah.
Hassan. Is it allowed to use microscope and technology to see the moon? As long as you're still using the ru'ya, your eyes, it's fine. Ulama mentioned it's general. Using a microscope with your eyes is fine. It's still fine. It's musa'ida, it's fine, there's no problem with that. Because you're still seeing with the eyes. You're not using calculation, you're not doing another method. This star went up, this star went down, and khalas, that means this is calculation. This is not what the Prophet ﷺ told us to do. One last question, if there's any questions? Is there any question from the sisters? Where's the app, the website? Just get it up though, just in case, just get it ready. Do they have the barcode? خلاص. طيب, we're going to the next mas'ala. Is there a question? You just look, if there's any questions on the topic, just you can ask inshallah. He says the next mas'ala is وَيَجِبُ تَبْيِيتُ النِّيَّةِ لِصِيَامِ الْفَرْضِ. It's obligatory to have intention for fasting the month of Ramadan the night before. Meaning, next week when it comes, inshallah, in 9-10 days when Ramadan comes, the night before Ramadan. So Ramadan, the fasting starts Fajr, sah? Before Fajr, any time before Fajr, I have to have the intention tomorrow I'm fasting. The intention is that I made a firm resolve, I'm fasting tomorrow. That's for Ramadan, is obligatory. Then he says, وَأَمَّا النَّفْلُ فَيَجُوزُ بِنِيَّةٍ مِّنَ النَّهَارِ. As for voluntary fasts outside of Ramadan, then you don't have to have the intention that you are fasting the night before. You're allowed to, in the middle of the day, you woke up, let's say, you prayed Fajr, then you went to work, and you know what, it's break time at 12 o'clock, and you realize, you know what, I didn't eat all day. I didn't eat since this morning. I never had water. I never had any drink. I never had nothing. Did you have intention to fast from Fajr to 12 o'clock? No. But you haven't eaten, you haven't done anything that goes against a fast. So it's allowed for you to say at 12 o'clock to make intention, you know what? I'm fasting for the rest of the day. Are you allowed to do that? In a voluntary fast outside Ramadan, yes, you're allowed. And you get the reward from the time you made intention 12 o'clock up until Maghrib. This is allowed in the voluntary fast. As for the wajib Ramadan, then it's not allowed. You're not allowed to say, the first day Ramadan comes, you forgot about it. Yeah, you went to Fajr, you went to work, you forgot. You was about to drink, then you said, someone said to you, Akhi, it's Ramadan. Oh yeah, I forgot, Akhi. I didn't make intention. You didn't make intention the night before. What happens now? That fast is not accepted. He still has to stay away from food and drink because of the hurma of Ramadan, the sacredness of Ramadan. He has to stay away from food and drink for the rest of the day. But he has to make that day up after Ramadan. Because he didn't have intention for it. You have to have intention from the beginning before it starts from before Fajr Adhan. Okay? What's the evidence? The Prophet ﷺ, he mentions in a hadith mentioned by Hafsa that you have to have the niyyah the night before. And the evidence that voluntary fast is allowed. The Prophet ﷺ, one day he went to his wife Aisha and he said, is there any food? She said, Wallah, there's no food. And he hasn't ate. This is it's after Fajr in the morning. So he says, okay, I'm fasting for the rest of the day. This shows you're allowed to make your intention late if it's a voluntary fast. As for the obligatory fast, now Ramadan comes, you have to have it the night before. We have another issue that's similar to it. In Ramadan, do I have to make the intention to fast the obligatory fast every night before Fajr? Every night I make sure, yeah, tomorrow I'm fasting. Or is it allowed to make the intention from the beginning, before Ramadan starts, the night before, that I'm fasting every day? The ulama, they mention that it is allowed that you make the intention one time at the beginning of Ramadan that I will fast the whole month. So the day before Ramadan, they say, for example, next week when we reach, they say, Ramadan is tomorrow. You say, Alhamdulillah, Ramadan has entered, Alhamdulillah. You say, Khalas, I'm fasting. Like you make the intention, I'm fasting for the rest of the month. You don't have to say it. You make the intention that I'm fasting every day. This is enough. طيب. Except if you miss a day. Let's say you fasted for 15 days. You made the intention at the beginning of Ramadan. But after 15 days, you went traveling. And in that travel, you didn't fast. So you broke the sequence. Because you said, I'm traveling, it's going to be difficult, I'm not fasting. So you ate and drank and you never, and it's allowed for you when you're traveling. But now you came back 2 days later, you never fasted for 2 days. 2 days later, you're back to your home city. And you're going to fast again. Is it enough, the original fast, the intention? No, you have to make intention again now. Because you cut the sequence. So that's an important affair to mention. So you're allowed to make one intention at the beginning unless you cut. And likewise for the sisters, if her time of the month comes and she stops fasting for a number of days, when she becomes pure again, she has to make the intention again to fast. So anytime you break it for whatever reason, you have to make the intention again. Any questions?
Is it allowed to take, for example, if you have to repeat the day of fast from Ramadan, and for example, you wait till Yawm al-Arafah, something like that, and you
To combine both intentions.
Yeah, exactly.
Ahsant. Combining intentions. So the question is, are you allowed to, if let's say you traveled one day, Ramadan, and you missed that day, and you need to make, yarhamukallah, you need to make that day after Ramadan. Are you allowed to delay it until Arafah and say, look, 2 birds, 1 stone? Buy one, get one free. I do Arafah and I do the day of Ramadan that I missed. I do both of them together one day. Am I allowed? No, it's not allowed. It's not allowed to combine intention when you have a obligatory action, like fasting the month of Ramadan, with another action, a voluntary action. The obligatory, you have to have a separate intention for it, and you can't combine another intention with it. As for some of the voluntary actions, then you're allowed to combine them together. So let's say the sunnah of fasting Monday and Thursdays. And that Thursday is Arafah. Are you allowed to combine the intentions? Yes, both are voluntary. It's fine. So combining voluntary actions, most of them is fine. But any obligatory action, you can't combine the intention with a voluntary action. Does that make sense? Ahsant. Say again? Ahsant, yes. The Prophet ﷺ used to fast the most in Sha'ban and Muharram. Aisha said that I would never see him fasting any month as much as Sha'ban. He would fast the whole month except for a few days. The only month he would fast completely is the month of Ramadan. And so if a person says, I want to fast as much as I can in Sha'ban, and it's also a Monday, and it's also the 3 white days of the month, the middle of the month, 13, 14, the 15th of Sha'ban, the middle of the month. Every month has a middle, 13, 14, 15, and it's Ayam al-Bid, then it's allowed to fast these days and combine the intention of Monday and Sha'ban, and it's the white days. It's fine. So all of them are voluntary. واضح? Any other questions?
Yes. It's a side note.
No.
You mentioned about the voluntary fasting. For example, you are fasting from midday,
No.
12 o'clock. So in a mandatory or the fard, you are having the full reward, you are having the ajr, full ajr.
If you are fasting voluntary?
Voluntary. Yeah.
No.
So let's say it's 11 o'clock, it's 12 o'clock.
Yeah.
So how is the ajr, the reward, is calculated in this?
Ahsant.
For 5 hours, for 4 hours?
So the only time you get ajr for fasting is the time when you started.
When you started. So
when you start. So in the morning,
when you have the
yes,
intention,
yes,
this is-
yes.
okay.
So the question is, if you start for the voluntary fast, if you start midday your intention for fasting, then when does your ajr start? Do you get full day reward of fasting, or do you get from the time you made the intention? Then you get from the time that you made the intention, and Allah knows best, because this is when you did the action of worship. As for from the morning till the time you didn't have it, then you weren't fasting, so you don't get reward for it, and Allah Azza wa Jalla knows best. طيب. No. Ahsant. A question, am I sinful for not making up Ramadan, the days that I missed from Ramadan, last Ramadan, and that I missed last Ramadan, and the new month is coming?
Yeah, they haven't made it up.
No. So al-muhim, a person should make up the days that they missed from Ramadan before Ramadan enters. So if I had an excuse of traveling, or a woman was going through the time in the month, then she has to make up before the next month of Ramadan. Okay? If a person has an excuse and they, for whatever reason, they couldn't make it up, then it's fine. They're not sinful. They make it up after this Ramadan comes, and they make it up after. Some ulama, they mention that delaying it without excuse and not making it up until Ramadan, that you still have to make up after Ramadan, but on top of that, you have to pay fidyah, you have to pay money to poor people for delaying it. So for every day you missed, you have to pay the fidyah. This is what they mention. As for is it sinful, then Allah Alam, if they get sin or not, I don't recollect anything at the moment in that regard.
Sorry, the figure here about the people who left it these days. So it's calculated as they are feeding the poor,
No.
or is it 10 people you have to?
We're going to mention inshallah. It's going to come inshallah. Jazakallah khair. Last question.
Somebody have like a chronic sickness.
No.
You know what's chronic sickness?
No, لا شك. We're going to mention it. We're going to mention it.
Oh,
Okay? It's going to come. جزاكم الله خير.
it's okay.
طيب. He says, وَالْمَرِيضُ الَّذِي يَتَضَرَّرُ بِالصَّوْمِ. The sick person that gets affected by fasting. They don't have to fast. The sick person doesn't have to fast. Sick people are 2 types. Short-term sickness. Yani you got a cold or the flu or something, and you're sick for 2-3 days. You're too weak. Your body's too weak. You have to eat. You have to have soup. You have to kada to get stronger. Then they are sick, short-term sickness, and they are allowed to not fast. It's not obligatory upon them to fast. And they make it up after Ramadan. They just have to make up those days. That's it. Okay? Then he says, as for the second type of sickness. The sickness that is long-term, chronic illness, a long-term illness that prevents them from fasting. If they fast, it's going to harm them. And the doctors say you shouldn't fast. And this is not something that's going to be just for 5 days. It's something that's going to happen for the next 10 years or for the rest of your life. This is a long-term sickness. Then what does that person do? They don't have to fast. They feed a poor person for every day that they missed. This is the fidyah.
This goes also for the sinners who left it intentionally. It's
The-
the same as a long-term.
No, we're going to mention that. That's different ahkam, okay?
Ah, okay.
Now, it's the one that can't fast, not purposely. The one that can't fast. And he's going to mention different groups. The first group that can't fast is a sick person. Short-term sickness, I'm just sick and I have to eat today, tomorrow, but in 4 days I'll get better and I'll go back to fasting. Then this person doesn't have to pay for every day, feed a miskeen for every day. He doesn't have to. He just makes it up after Ramadan. But someone that is in this group that has long-term illness, chronic illness, they can't fast. Not today, not tomorrow, not next year, not the year after. Then what do? They feed a poor person for every day that they miss. So let's say Ramadan is 30 days, they have to feed 30 people. How do they feed them? They can feed them 30 all in one go, or 29 and then add one if it's 30 in one go, or they can do it for every day. So every day they feed a poor person for iftar, for example, or something like this.
For example, if my younger brother has a chronic
Sickness, yeah.
But he don't have money, but she should pay. Can I pay for him?
Inshallah. Give him the money and he pays, inshallah.
Yeah, I mean it like that.
Nah, but inshallah. وَلَكَ الْأَجْرِ inshallah, may Allah reward. So this is the first group, sick person. Second group is the musafir, the traveler. The traveler does not have to fast. They have the choice to fast or not to fast. So if you are traveling and you're saying, look, it's only 3 hours on the airplane, I can do this. It's not going to affect me. You have the choice to break it, but you have the choice to fast. Me personally, now, I don't like to break my fast. Unless it's a big travel and going somewhere far, 10 hours. If it's 2-3 hours, I prefer to fast. Why? Because I don't want to make up days later. I want to do Shawwal straight away. That's just me. But if it's a long travel, 10 hours flight, and you're going to be transiting, and you're going to be, then if it's going to affect you, and even worse, is it might have a health problem for you, or like you might go unconscious or the likes, then you have to break your fast. Prophet ﷺ, he was fasting with a group of people, and then one of the companions fell down unconscious. The Prophet ﷺ, he said, ليس من البر أن تصوم في السفر. It's not from righteousness that you fast when you're traveling. If you cannot handle it, they're going to be unconscious or the likes of these affairs. As for being allowed, there's another evidence where a Sahabi says, I have the ability to fast. The Prophet ﷺ, he gave him the choice. If you want, you can fast. If you don't, you cannot fast. And the Prophet ﷺ himself, he fasted, and sometimes he broke his fast. So this is first two categories. First one, First category.
Chronic disease.
Both. So just generally sickness. Short term and long term. Short term, they have the choice. Long term, they have to feed a poor person for every day they miss. Second, traveler. Traveler has a choice as well. If they want, they can fast. If they want, they can break the fast. You have a question?
Yeah. But finish.
I'll finish. خلاص. تفضل.
So after Ramadan, it's you can fast 6 days.
We're going to mention, inshallah. It's going to come.
It's not enough.
6 days of Shawwal is going to come. We're going to...
So if you in Ramadan didn't fast 3 days, if you fast first the 3
It's coming,
days,
it's coming. It will come, inshallah.
break the fast before the day starts, or does he have to start the fast?
Ahsant, very good question. Okay, when does your traveling begin? Basically, when are you allowed to break your fast? Because you're traveling. Okay, I started Fajr time. I am in my home country. Do I have to fast? Yes, because I'm still resident. Okay, 8 o'clock. I have my bags packed. The car is ready. The taxi has come. I got in the taxi. Do I break my fast? No, I'm still resident. I go to the airport. The airport is inside the city. I forgot how far the airport is from here. Is it inside or outside the city? Zurich? Inside. So let's use that example. Some airports are outside the city. This airport is inside the city. You're at the airport. Do I break my fast?
No.
I'm still resident. When I get on the airplane and the airplane leaves the city, then my traveling begins. When I get on the car and I leave the city of Zurich, I'm on the motorway, I'm out of Zurich now, then my traveling begins. Okay? So traveling starts when you leave the city. When you leave the city, now you can break your fast. So if a person says, I'm not fasting today, I'm traveling at 2 p.m., so I'm not fasting all day. La, he has to fast up until 2 p.m.
Is it the same ruling for somebody who's traveling to pray like Maghrib and Isha together?
Same ruling.
Same ruling.
If you're, what do you mean? Sorry, you mean, are you combining? When does the combining begin? You mean?
Yes, yes.
No, it's different. It's different, because it's allowed if you're traveling somewhere and you're not going to be able to pray over there, or you'll miss the salah when you reach because it's a 10-hour flight, for example, whatever reason, you're allowed to combine here. But if you're still in your city, you combine, let's say Maghrib and Isha. But how much do you pray Isha? 4 or 2? 4, because you're still in your city. Combining is allowed because 3 and 4. Combining is allowed, you have to pray 4 because you're still in your city. Shortening is only when you're out of your city. So let's say I delay Maghrib Isha. I say I'm not going to pray now. I'm going to reach my destination in 3 hours. Still Isha time. I pray Maghrib and Isha at my destination. Now I'm out of my city. I'm traveling. I pray 3 and 2 because I'm traveling now.
When you come back?
If you come back, same thing. I'm traveling. I did Dhuhr and Asr 2 and 2. Then I traveled and I went to a petrol station or somewhere and I prayed Maghrib. I said I'm already on the route. I can't pray right now. I'll do Jam' Ta'khir. I will delay the combining when I reach home. Okay, you reach home now. You have to pray Maghrib and Isha. How much you pray Isha? 3 and 4. You have to pray Isha 4 because you are back in your city. As long as you come back to your city, you can combine, but you have to pray full. Shortening is only out of your city.
When I go visit someone in Turgau,
What's Turgau?
maybe 30 minutes from here. It's out the city. It's on the
على كل حال, there's difference of opinion between ulama. Some ulama, they mention it by distance. 87 kilometers or miles, I forget right now. 84 miles or kilometers? Kilometers. Hasant. And some mention no, as long as you leave the buildings of your city. So the city, the building is all up to here. When you go out and you go into a farmland, now you go to another city, for example. They consider this now you've left as soon as you leave. But others, they say, no, 84 kilometers. So if that half an hour is less than 84 kilometers, they say you're not traveling yet, up until you get to 84. So there is a difference between ulama. So it depends on which opinion you take. No. Similar.
It's exactly specifically about this ruling.
No.
Because it's a bit confusing here, because the distances are not that long.
Yeah, everything's close.
Yes, and there are always buildings.
Yeah.
So, for instance, if I'm going to Germany, like South Germany, there is cities which are close, like 65 kilometers, 70 kilometers. So, am I now in the traveling ruling, and it's a majority of ulama on this case in the time, or that you left the city or left your country,
Ahsant.
or is it the 84? And if it's 83.
Yeah,
Because-
أحسنت.
yeah.
على كل حال أخي, so the question is similar to the previous question on Germany. Some cities are less than 84 kilometers. So does the traveling apply or not apply? And in this, I think Europe generally all the cities are next to each other. أنا لا أخفيك, I have intention to go into this مسألة more detail. I haven't had the time to. I personally have been following for many years the opinion of when you leave your city. For me, it was أضبط because every city it has its start point and end point, generally speaking.
This is, I guess, the ruling of Ibn Umar.
I can't remember reference point specifically right now. Lekin, there is a lot of ulama that hold onto kilometers as well. So not from the time of the madahib, yeah. So inshallah, I want to go into it in more detail soon. Maybe next time.
Inshallah.
Like there is that difference of opinion between the scholars. Me personally, I follow as so long as I leave a city. Now, any other questions?
If someone has a chronic disease, illness or how it's called, and then قدر الله, it goes away.
No.
And yes, hasn't fasted Ramadan for 5 years.
No.
Has he to make up the fast or not?
Ahsan. So the question is, someone has a chronic disease and they don't have to fast. They feed a poor person for every day. They missed. For 5 years they had chronic disease. Then Allah Azza wa Jal cured them. Alhamdulillah. They missed 5 years. Do they have to make it up? No. What was obligatory upon you that time was to feed, and you did that. Now Allah Azza wa Jal, He lifted that illness from you. Next Ramadan, you fast like normal everyone else. But the past, there's nothing upon you. Because in that state, you were sick. Just like the sane person. If there was a time a person went a bit insane, then the time that they are insane, they don't have to pray, they don't have to fast. Then let's say Allah Azza wa Jal cures that person and they get their sanity back. 5 years they never prayed and fasted. Do they have to make up? No. The pen was lifted that time. It was not obligatory upon them to do those things. Now they're back to normal. They have to fast. وهكذا.
And what if the disease, let's say they have a disease, but normally it's a disease, what to say, it holds on for a long time, but it isn't chronic. Normally you get...
The tabit is, does it affect the person fasting? If it affects them, يتضرر, they will be harmed by fasting, then they don't have to fast.
I don't mean that. I mean like, yes, a disease and it holds on for a long time, but it isn't like a chronic disease. Normally people get healed. Do they have to pay the fidyah, or have they then...
So this goes back to the thing,
Yes.
that mas'ala of, okay, it's a long time, but that long time, is it affecting his fasting?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, in that long time, even if it's not considered chronicle by the book, but it affects their fasting. They can't fast. They have to take one medicine, for example, like diabetes, for example, a slight version, or other than that. It's possible that might become cured. But the thing is, it affects their fasting. They can't fast. So if that's a long time, the whole month, 2 years, 3 years, then that's considered long term. They pay for each for a poor person. Last question.
When does it start to become a long disease? How can we know?
Short term is ما عهده الناس. What the people normally know as short term. You get sick, that's sick, that's short term. But any illness that the doctor says to you, you can't fast.
But it doesn't have a ruling. It was like a question if it has a ruling or not.
كيف?
Like, for example, if you're 30 days sick, then it's a long-term sick.
Okay, so they say, the ulama says, لا يرجى برؤه. We don't think he's going to get better. So 40 days, 60 days, 2 years, we don't think he's going to get better anytime soon. That's the norm of this disease, is going to be a long term. There's different types of long term. There's serious, it's not serious, it's mild. But this is long term, it doesn't allow him to fast, and we don't think he's going to get better from it. As for the short term, we think he's going to get better in 3 days or 15 days. We know he's going to get better for it. He just makes up for it. هذا هو وإياك. No. Inshallah, inshallah. طيب. The next group of people that are excused is والحائض والنفساء. The ha'id is the woman that goes through the menstrual period in a month. Then this is one group, and then he mentions alongside that group and nufasa. The woman that has the blood that is from the nufasa is after giving birth. So a woman after giving birth to a child and then blood comes out, then she is considered from the nufasa. These two, menstrual and the nufasa, he says يحرم عليهما الصيام وعليهما القضاء. It is haram for them to fast. See how we said the traveler, he has a choice. Even the one with a short-term sickness, he thinks I can still fast. He has a choice. But the woman that is in a menstrual period and after giving birth, then it's haram for her to fast. She's not allowed to fast. And this is mercy for her to gain her strength and the likes. So it's haram for her to fast. What's upon her? She makes up that one day after Ramadan. All she has to do is make it up after Ramadan. 7 days, you make it up 7 days after Ramadan. After giving birth, 40 days, then, so you miss the whole 30 days, you make 30 days after the month of Ramadan. Then the next group he mentions is وَالْحَامِلُ وَالْمُرْضِعُ. The pregnant woman and the woman that is breastfeeding a child. He mentioned them in the same category. The breastfeeding woman and the pregnant woman, if they fear for themselves, because they have to usually eat to breastfeed and they're pregnant, they have a child in their stomach, they have to usually eat, and otherwise they might get weak and it might affect them. So if they fear for themselves, they have to make up that day after Ramadan. They don't fast, they make up that day after Ramadan. Then he says, إن خافتا على ولديهما أفطرتا وقضتا وأطعمتا عن كل يوم مسكينا. He says, if they fear, not just for themselves, they fear for the child in the stomach, for the pregnant woman, or they fear for the child that is being breastfed, they fear that if they do not eat, then they won't have enough to eat and they might affect them. Then, number one, they don't fast. Number two, they make up that fast after Ramadan. And number three, they have to pay or feed a poor person for that day that they missed. So let's say they missed 15 days. Because they feared for themselves only, what do they have to do? Just make it up. But if they fear for themselves and they fear for the child, or they fear for the child, what do they have to do now? How many days? 15 days they missed it. They have to do what? Make up the days and pay, meaning feed a poor person for every day that they missed. Is that clear? This is what the madhab of Imam Ahmed is upon, madhab of Imam Shafi'i, and there are different aqwal from the different madhahib, but a lot of them, they mention this. Ibn Umar and Ibn Abbas, they mention something else, but ala kulli hal, this is the safer option. Wallahu a'lam. So these are the different groups that he mentions. I'll repeat quickly. The first group is the sick person. The second is the traveler. And they are mentioned together. The sick person here, he's really referring to is the short-term sickness, and the one that's traveler, they have a choice to fast or not to fast. As for the long-term sickness, then they feed a poor person for every day that they miss. Then he mentions in a group, the ha'id and the nufasa, is haram for them to fast and they have to just make it up only. Then he mentions the pregnant woman and the breastfeeding woman. If they fear for themselves, they just make it up. If they fear for their child, then they make up and they pay or feed a poor person for every day that they miss. I missed one. There's one last group. He says, وَالْعَاجِزُ عَنِ الصَّوْمِ لِكِبَرٍ أَوْ مَرَضٍ لَا يُرْجَى بُرْؤُهُ فَإِنَّهُ يُطْعِمُ عَنْ كُلِّ يَوْمٍ مِسْكِينًا. He says the one that is unable to fast, either due to old age. A man or a woman is 70 years old, 80 years old, 90 years old. Do they have to fast? They don't have to fast. Because due to old age, they're unable to fast. They feed a poor person for every day. Then he mentions the group that we mentioned earlier. He mentions it now. The person that is sick, that we don't think he's going to get better, meaning someone that has a long-term sickness, they're unable to fast completely, then they have to feed a poor person for every day that they miss. So this is the person that's unable, either due to old age or due to sickness that is long-term, we don't think they're going to get better from. They feed a poor person for every day that they miss. طيب, any questions?
What's the hikmah that the woman who cares for the child has to
Pay for each.
What's the hikmah for the woman who pays for a child or other
To pay.
To pay.
Allahu A'lam, what the wisdom behind it is. But the ulama, they've differed on this issue, and majority of them, they stick to athar from the Sahaba. Ali mentions this, Ibn Abbas mentioned this. So there's difference of opinion, and the madhahib, many of them, they hold this based upon athar of some of the Sahaba. What's the wisdom? Allahu A'lam. طيب. Then he says, وَمَنْ أَفْطَرَ فَعَلَيْهِ الْقَضَاءُ فَقَطْ إذا كان فطره بأكل أو بشرب أو قيء عمدا أو حجامة أو إمناء بمباشرة. He says, as for the one who breaks his fast, then the only thing that's upon the person that breaks their fast is to make up that day. And what are the muftirat as-sawm? What are those things that break a person's fast? He's going to mention a number of things that break a person's fast. If you fall into these things, what's upon you? You have to make it up after Ramadan. He says, what are those things? He says, first of all, eating and drinking. So anyone that eats and drinks purposely, they say, Wallahi, I'm so thirsty, just a little bit, just a tiny bit. It's not going to harm. He says, only thing I'm going to have is pour this much. That doesn't affect. I'm still fasting, inshallah. That breaks your fast. Eating, likewise, it breaks your fast if it's intentional. So eating and drinking. Then he says, purposely vomiting. If a person vomits and is out of their control, they didn't try to do this purposely. Did they break their fast? No. Someone that just gets sick, all of a sudden they start vomiting. Did they break their fast? No, they did not break their fast. But someone makes himself vomit, puts his hand in his tongue and he says, starts vomiting. Then he broke his fast. Then he broke his fast. I don't know why would someone do that. Maybe they say, it's going to make me forget about food. I don't know, this is my trick to last 20 hours. I don't know why would someone do that. But someone does purposely vomiting, breaks their fast. Then he says, cupping, hijama. That a person performs cupping. You know cupping? Hijama. It's, you go to a person and they remove dirty blood, if you like, from your body. And so they put on your chest, for example, or your neck, or your back. And it's like a cup shape. Okay? They make some holes. There's different ways they make some holes. Some of them, they make the holes and then they put the thing and it tightens your skin. They do it again, it tightens the air. And then they do it again. They keep doing that with little holes and then the blood comes out. Some others, they get a piece of paper. I saw this once, it looked very cool. Got a piece of paper. He lit it up with fire. He put it inside the cup. Then he sticks it on your skin. What does it do? It makes your skin like soft. Okay? It takes all the air out. Then he makes little holes. Then he puts another one, fire, another cup. He puts it in and he sucks all the blood out. There's different ways of doing it. This is called cupping. And it's sunnah to do cupping and it's healthy to do cupping. But it's not allowed to do cupping fi nahari Ramadan. In the daytime of Ramadan, it breaks your fast. The Prophet ﷺ, he mentions in hadith as in Bukhari, أفطر الحاجم والمحجوم. He saw two men, one of them was performing cupping on another one. Prophet ﷺ, he said, the one doing the hijama, performing the cupping, and the one cupping is being made for, both of them, they've broken their fast. Both of them have broken their fast. And this is the most correct opinion. There is a difference of opinion between the scholars, but this is the most correct opinion, that hijama, it breaks your fast. Fi nahari Ramadan. And if you must do cupping, then Habibi, just wait until night time. Whenever we have a mas'ala where some scholars are saying, this will break your salah, or this will break your action of worship, it's not going to be accepted. And others are saying, no, it's fine if you do it or don't do it, it's going to be accepted. You have two options. And it's actually like ulama from the time of Sahaba or after them that differed. It's like a valid difference of opinion in fiqh. Then it's better to always take the safer option. Now, here the Prophet ﷺ says in the hadith, أفطر الحاجم والمحجوم, that hijama breaks the fasting. And there's someone else that says, no, but we have this other evidence that mentions it's maybe okay. This one's saying it's okay, your fast is going to be okay. So this one's saying your fast is going to be batil. What do you do? Which one's safer? The one that says, don't do hijama, your fasting might be batil. So you take his opinion, you say, you know what? Just to be safe, I won't do cupping. Because some scholars, they say it's fine, your fast will be okay. Some scholars say your fast will be batil. Take the safer option. Just stay away from cupping. Do it at night time. At night time, does anyone differ? No, you're not fasting. It's ijma', you're allowed to do hijama. So sticking to the safer option. Similar to this is reading Surah Al-Fatiha. Some scholars, they say, you have to read Surah Al-Fatiha behind the Imam in the loud prayers. So Salat al-Maghrib, for example. I have to read, some ulama say you have to read Fatiha. After the Imam finishes his Fatiha, you read it quietly, you have to read it. Some scholars say, no, you don't have to read it. The reading of the Imam is enough for you. But these scholars that say you have to read it, they say if you don't read it, they say your salah is batil. These scholars say, they say, no, your salah is fine. What's the safe option? To read. Because even the ones that say you don't have to read, they hold that if you read it, it's fine, it's okay. You reading Fatiha doesn't break it. It's okay, you can read it. So what's the safe option? Both of them agree reading in Fatiha in Salah is fine in the loud praise, so read it, safe option. This is something called khurujan min al-khilaf, exiting the scope of difference of opinion, going to the place where both of them agree. If you can do that, if the evidence supports it, then it's fine. And from it is here, leaving off hijama and doing it at night time. The one that says it doesn't break it, he holds that you're allowed to do it at night time, sah? And this one holds you can do it at night time. Khalas, stick to the safe option, exit from the different, go to where they agree. Then he mentions what breaks your fasting as well is sperm exiting due to touching with desire. That a person, they have their semen exits due to desires, due to touching. That a person is the cause of it. As for if a person has a wet dream and it's out of their control and sperm exits, then this does not break their wudu. If they're sleeping, it's out of their control. As for someone that's awake and he is a cause for it to happen, then this breaks his wudu. These are the ones that he mentions. So he mentions eating, drinking, purposely vomiting, cupping, and sperm exiting due to desires, touching with desires. These 5, if you break your fasting with these 5, what do you have to do? All you have to do is make up that day outside of Ramadan. Do you have to pay? Do you have to feed a poor person? No. All you have to do is make up that day outside of Ramadan. Then he says, ومن نعم. He says, إلا من أفطر بجماع فإنه يقضي ويعتق رقبة فإن لم يجد فصيام شهرين متتابعين فإن لم يستطع فإطعام 60 مسكينا. He says, as for someone, he mentions another one which is different from the first 5 that we mentioned. He says, as for someone who breaks his fast by sexual intercourse, then this is different. It breaks your fast. That a husband and a wife, they engage in intercourse in the daytime of Ramadan is not allowed. And if they do so, it breaks their fast. What do they have to do? Do they just make it up outside of Ramadan? No. It's more shadeed. The consequence is more severe. They have to, number one, make up that fast outside of Ramadan. Number one. Number two, they have to free a slave. Taban, no slaves exist today. But the ahkam exists until the Day of Judgment. Auf Wiedersehen. Danke. The second is they have to free a slave. Okay, we don't have slaves that exist today. Then you go on to the next stage, which is fasting 2 consecutive months. صوم شهرين متتابعين. You have to fast 2 months in a row, 60 days back to back. Because you did 1 day, you made a mistake. Severe. So, number one, you wake up. With the making up, you have to plus either free a slave. Freeing a slave an option? No, it's not an option. That doesn't exist anymore. So what do you go? Go to the next stage that the Prophet ﷺ mentioned. That you have to fast for 60 days in a row, back to back. Okay? A person can't do this because let's say they're a bit old, for example. Or they are sick, chronic, whatever reason, for example. They can't fast 60 days. Then they go to the third that the Prophet ﷺ mentioned. They have to feed 60 people. 60 days is 2 months. The equivalent of that is feeding 60 people, 60 poor people, that you feed 60 of them. So this shows you the severity of this affair. That person has to make it up and then do either number one. If it doesn't, then number two. If it doesn't, then number three, in that order. You can't just say, I'm going to do the last one first. No, you have to follow that order, whatever's possible. طيب. Then he says, he mentions some ahadith that are extra. Before moving on, any questions, inshallah? No.
What about swearing?
Does it break your fast?
Yeah.
Ahsant. Anything apart from these 6 that are mentioned, don't break your fast. Except we can add one more, which is a person breaks the intention. Obviously, that breaks your fast. Okay? Person says, I'm not fasting anymore. And they cut the intention, then khalas. These 6 break a person's fast. Anything else apart from these 6, then the fast is correct. But then the ajr that they get, the reward, it depends on how much their heart is present, how much good deeds that they are doing, or how much sins they're falling into. So a person swearing, for example, or may Allah protect us from this, listening to music in the daytime of Ramadan, and he's fasting. He won't get the benefit of fasting, because the benefit of fasting is to get taqwa. How will you get taqwa if you're listening to music and you're doing sins? So you have to stay away from all of the muharramat. If you're staying away from that which is halal, eating is halal, drinking is halal, purposely vomiting is weird, but it's halal. All of these are things are halal. But you stay away from the halal to be obedient to Allah, to attain taqwa. Like, what about the haram? The haram should be even number one. You don't even need to mention it. It should be already be stopped in Ramadan. Outside of Ramadan as well, but especially now in Ramadan. Okay, so if a person does fall into it, listening to music or swearing, or then it doesn't break the fasting, but it will take your reward down. Because the Prophet ﷺ mentions that fasting, every action is multiplied by 10. Up to 700 times is multiplied. Except for fasting. Allah says fasting is for me and I will reward it. So it's possible to get even more than 700 times extra. It's possible. But that's in accordance to how much your heart is present, how much dua you're making, how much istighfar, how much you're reading Quran, how much ibadah you're doing. The less and the sins that you have, then it's possible that person gets 0 reward. The only thing that they did is they lifted the obligation from them. Meaning they don't have to make up Ramadan, they fasted the day of Ramadan, but they got 0 reward. They never got no benefit. The only thing that they benefited is they stayed away from food and drink. And we're going to mention a hadith soon that talks about this affair. He says, so here are some hadith, inshallah, that are related to the topic. He says, or the Prophet قال وقال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم من نسي وهو صائم فأكل أو شرب فليتم صومه فإنما أطعمه الله وسقى متفق عليه. He says, the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم, he said, whoever forgets he is fasting, then he eats and drinks, let him complete his fast. Let him continue fasting. For indeed it is Allah that has fed him and given him drink. Narrated in Bukhari and Muslim. So a person that eats and drinks by accident, we said the one that does purpose, fast is broken. But a person in the second day of Ramadan, they are fasting and they are doing everything right, and then subhanallah, they just forget. They just get water, bismillah. Fasting, subhanallah. What did I do? Did I break my fast? Did I not break my fast? You did not break your fast. Prophet ﷺ, he said, whoever eats and drinks forgetfully, not on purpose, then let them continue fasting. For indeed Allah has fed him and given him drink. This is a little break that Allah Azza wa Jal gave you, some mercy that came to you. Okay? Now it doesn't mean a person does, well, I forgot. La la la. Then he mentioned the next hadith, وقال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم لا يزال الناس بخير ما عجلوا الفطر. He said, متفق عليه. He says the people do not cease to be upon good as long as they break their fast quickly. From the sunan that is not paid attention to as much as we should is that when the time of iftar comes, that a person rushes to break their fast. You have your dates ready, your water, that as soon as the adhan goes, don't say, MashaAllah, the adhan is nice today, alhamdulillah, I can't wait to dig in and eat. Stop talking, akhi, eat. Ajjalul fitr. They are hastening to break their fast, to have the timr ready. The adhan goes, bismillah. Breaking the fast quickly is sunnah. Hastening. The Prophet ﷺ says the people they continue to be good and their condition is good if they continue to hasten, which shows us the opposite is bad. That the people are upon bad if they are delaying the hastening of the breaking their fast. The adhan has gone, they're still walking around, washing the cup, washing the plate, getting the dishes ready. Yeah, Habibi, it's been 1 minute, 2 minutes, what are you doing? No, I'm coming. Sunnah is to break it as quickly as possible.
For the person that is calling the adhan?
Say again?
The person that is calling the adhan.
Naam.
How should we
I never thought about that. Allahu a'lam. Allah ya'ina. Tfadal.
When the adhan comes and I'm on the train, what should I do?
Wherever you are, brother. If you're in a tunnel, if you're in space, you hear the adhan, have your tamar, break it. That's the question. So the question, good question. I don't have nothing. I'm in the train or I'm in the public bus, I'm walking and I don't have food, I don't have drink, I don't have nothing, and I hear the adhan or the time has come in. It's coming 09, it's 09. I don't have nothing. First of all, try to have a bottle of water. It's Ramadan. You know time's coming soon. Before you get in the train, go to a baqala, corner store, get water if you can. Try to always, time's coming closer, you might be commuting, just make sure you have it. So you don't have to go through what I'm about to say. The second stage, you don't have nothing. Then you break it with your intention. Adhan has gone, it's time for iftar. So I'm not fasting anymore. You cut your fasting with your intention. Is that clear? Now, last question.
If the adhan goes off, can I eat directly or do I need to wait till it's finished?
Ahsant. The adhan, when it goes, do I have to eat as soon as he starts the adhan or do I wait for it to finish? As soon as he says Allah, so time has entered because the mu'adhin, either today obviously we look at timetable, he's looking at the timetable, he sees the time because then he's going to start. So when he starts, that means time has already entered. Or back in the day they're looking and as soon as he sees, then he starts. So him starting means it's Maghrib. 10 minutes, okay. طيب, we're going to have to fly through this. He says, وقال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم تسحروا فإن في السحور أو في السحور بركة متفق عليه. He says, take the suhoor. Sahur with the fath is the thing you're eating, and suhoor is the time of the last part before Fajr. The Prophet ﷺ, he says, have your sahur. Why? Because in it is barakah, in it is blessing. So it's sunnah to have sahur. Some people, they say, oh, Allah, I had a big meal last night, I'm okay, I don't need to eat food. La, eat, it's barakah. You don't have to eat a lot. We're not saying have a 5-course dish meal, mashallah, in the morning. La, just have, even if you've already ate before, have tamar and water. Tamar, milk, something to keep you going. Water even. Have something, sahur. If you have, I don't know if you have Weetabix or something. You guys have Weetabix in Switzerland? Okay. No? Because I saw the faces, you don't know what it is. Huh? Tarvida. That is a crime. Oh, you have darvida or anything else, soup or porridge, or it doesn't matter. Al-Muhim, you have sahur. And tamar is nice to have. طيب. So it's sunnah. Follow the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, because in it is barakah. طيب. وقال إذا أفطر أحدكم فليفطر على تمر فإن لم يجد فليفطر على ماء فإنه طهور أو طهور. رواه الخمسة. He says, if one of you breaks your fast, what should you break it with? The burger or the pizza? Which one? Neither. He said, Prophet ﷺ, he said, إذا أفطر أحدكم. If one of you breaks his fast, then let him break his fast with dates. In another narration, it mentions rutab. Rutab is ripe, fresh dates. You know, there's some dates that they still have like watery. Maybe if you go Mecca, Medina, you see it. There's dates, it's ripe, it's still like liquidy inside. This is rutab. In one hadith, he mentions to start with rutab. If you can't find rutab, then you start with tamar. If you can't find tamar, then you start with water. Now this is the sunnah. The Prophet ﷺ guided us to, this is what we should be beginning our fast with. There's a reason why the Prophet ﷺ said that. Do we know all the wisdoms behind it? Maybe we don't know. But if some of us was a medical brother here, he did a scientific research on 10 people that were fasting the whole day, and one of them started with a burger, one started with a chocolate, one started with... Maybe he will find that the one that started with rutab, his body is healthy or something. The one that started with timid is still good. The one that had water is still good. The one that had burger, his insides is doing karate. Maybe, Allahu Alam. That is possible. But even if we don't know the wisdom behind it, the Prophet ﷺ told us to do this, we should do it. The sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. Sticking to the sunnah, wherever the Prophet ﷺ did, or he said, or he ate, or he didn't eat, or he was hastening to break his fast, or he had suhoor, we should try to be like the Prophet ﷺ in every walk of life. طيب, then he says, وقال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم من لم يدع قول الزور والعمل به والجهل فليس لله حاجة في أن يدع طعامه وشرابه. رواه البخاري. The Prophet ﷺ, he mentions in this hadith, whoever does not leave evil statements and acting upon it, and in one narration, and ignorance, whoever does not leave evil statement and acting upon the evil statement and ignorance, then Allah has no need for him to leave off his food and drink. Allah is not in need of you leaving your food and drink. That's not the point why fasting has been made obligatory. That Allah makes it haram for you to eat. That's not the point. The point is for you to get taqwa, piety, training yourself, your nafs to stay away from haram and to do righteous deeds. If a person doesn't leave evil statement, foul mouth, swearing, listening to music, acting upon it, then why does Allah need you to fast? You're missing the point. Is that clear? The whole point is to gain taqwa, to come out better than when we entered Ramadan. So we need to fight our nafs, our soul, to cut off music, to cut off anything that is haram in our lives, that we go cold turkey. If you were able to go cold turkey on food and drink, then we can go cold turkey on that which is haram, bab awla. طيب. 1 minute. طيب. Some of the stuff is talking about fasting, Ashura, Arafah, other days. We're going to skip that. Now, the Prophet ﷺ, he says, من صام رمضان. إيمانا واحتسابا غفر له ما تقدم من ذنبه. Whoever fasts the month of Ramadan, whoever fasts the days of the month of Ramadan with two conditions, Iman and ihtisab. Iman with firm belief, and ihtisab, seeking the reward from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. غفر له ما تقدم من ذنبه. Allah will forgive his previous sins. This is the one that fasts with firm Iman and seeking the reward. His heart is present. He's reciting Quran. He's staying away from haram. He's trying his best. What's the reward? His previous sins will be forgiven. In another hadith, من قام رمضان إيمانا واحتسابا غفر له ما تقدم من ذنبه. Whoever prays the night of Ramadan with Iman and ihtisab, then Allah will forgive his previous sins likewise. And a third hadith, من قام ليلة القدر إيمانا واحتسابا غفر له ما تقدم من ذنبه. Whoever catches prayer on the night of Laylatul Qadr, Iman and wahtisaban, then Allah will forgive his previous sins. And so this is a great month to get your reward and to remove your sins, to get your sins wiped away. The Prophet ﷺ, he mentions that Jibreel alayhi salam came to the Prophet ﷺ one day and he said, Ameen, Ameen, Ameen. So the Sahaba said, who are you talking to? The Prophet ﷺ said, Jibreel came to me and he made dua. 3 du'as, we'll just mention one here, the one we need. He said, رغم أنف امرئ دخل رمضان ولم يغفر له. May his nose be rubbed in dust. May he be destroyed. The one that enters the month of Ramadan and he catches Ramadan and he's alive, but his sins are not forgiven. He's given this season, this opportunity, and he doesn't take benefit from it. May his nose be rubbed in dust. So let's not be from amongst those people. Let's try to benefit from Ramadan. Then we have Shawwal. Whoever fasts the day of Ramadan, Ramadan finishes now. It's Eid day. Are we allowed to fast on Eid? It's haram to fast on Eid. The first day of Shawwal is Eid. Eid is haram to fast. The 2 days of Eid are not allowed to fast. Likewise, Ayyam al-Tashriq, the 3 days after the Eid of Hajj, the 3 days after Ayyam al-Tashriq is haram to fast as well. The Prophet ﷺ, he forbade from that. Then we have fasting the month of Ramadan, then following up with 6 days of Shawwal. Whoever fasts the month of Ramadan and they completed it, then they fast 6 days of Shawwal, they get the reward of the whole year. 30 days multiplied by 10, 300. 6 days multiplied by 10, 60. 360 lunar days in the moon. So as if you get the reward of the whole year. Someone asked the question, what if you miss some days of Ramadan? Are you allowed to fast Shawwal first, then make up Ramadan later? No, you have to make up Ramadan first. So you miss 3 days. When Shawwal comes first, you fast those 3 days of Shawwal. Then you fast the 6 days of, first 3 days of Ramadan. Then you fast the 6 days of Shawwal. Khalas, we finish inshallah. Now, tamam. To round up, Ramadan is a special month. We ask Allah Azza wa Jal to allow us to reach Ramadan. These are the main rulings of Ramadan. There's 2 affairs that we didn't talk about in detail. I'tikaf, the being secluded in the masjid for the last 10 days of Ramadan, sleeping in the masjid. I don't know, are they doing i'tikaf here? Yeah. So that the brothers, if they're able to do i'tikaf this year, they do i'tikaf in the masjid. The last 10 days that you stay in the masjid, you don't exit. You read Quran, you fast here, you break your fast here, you pray the night here. You're cut off from all distractions. You'll be like a newborn person when you come out. Iman will be sky high. Reciting Quran will be easy. You go in Eid and the next month with your Iman completely changed. If you need, go i'tikaf. I promise you will never regret it. When I did i'tikaf first time in my life, I was young. I was like 17 or 18 or something like this. When I went back outside, I saw a bus. I was like, wow, there's a bus. Wow, look at, because you're 10 days, you don't leave the masjid. And your Iman is sky high. So I really advise you. Likewise, Laylatul Qadr, the importance of Qadr is better than 1,000 months. The dua, you should say, Allahumma innaka afoon tuhibbul afwa fa'fu anni. This is what we can say in summary. May Allah Azza wa Jalla allow us to reach Ramadan and to benefit from Ramadan and to make us exit Ramadan and we are completely changed people. هذا والله أعلم وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد.